For those of you that saw my video last night, this is some new information right here. But I need to go back in and cover this again because I think it might be the most important thing that I've ever discovered. And if it is, I need to make sure that I'm conveying this in a clear and concise way so that as many people as possible can get this message. I've just scrolled through everything I'm going to cover, so please feel free if you want to just pause and read to go ahead and do that. This is a timeline. The things that are in gray are things that that might possibly be fulfillments that we don't know of for sure. We won't know until they actually happen. The things that are in color are actual fulfillments that we already know have happened. Notice there are question marks in here on dates that we're not sure about, dates that are debatable. Okay, and then there are other dates in here that are just standard knowledge. And it's pretty much agreed upon that these fulfillments have happened, the ones in color. Many people don't know about this one right here, because as far as I know, I'm the only one that has figured out this particular one right here. This one is a rare one as well, okay? So a lot of people don't realize this, but Gabriel had told Daniel that we wouldn't understand it until the very end. But these are real fulfillments that have already happened. So I've proven in another video that on August 2nd, 2012, the Abomination of Desolation was placed in the One World Trade Center. I'll link you to that video right here, and you can go watch it if you haven't already. It's proof that this has happened. And 40 days after this was the anniversary of September 11th. 7 days after that was the Feast of Trumpets, and 7 days after that was the Day of Atonement. In Genesis 8, 6 through 12, it says, after the 40 days, there will be 7 days and then 7 more days. So that's what I call a scriptural alignment. Because it's not necessarily discussing the Feast of Trumpets or Atonement, but it's an alignment in the sense that after 40 days there was 7 and then 7 more days. On the last day of Sukkot, we had a scriptural fulfillment of Revelation 12:4 with the Draconid meteor shower. This literally happened on the October 7th, 8th. The Jewish calendar their days start in the evening. So on the evening of the 7th until the evening of the 8th. And that's when this meteor shower happened. On October 16th, the following week, we had a fulfillment of Revelation 12:1 through 5, which is an extremely rare astronomical configuration that involves the constellation Virgo, the Sun, the Moon, and the planet Saturn. This occurred on the first crescent of the new moon. I have a video that I've made that shows this clearly is the date that this fulfillment happens. I'll link you to that video right here. The last time this fulfillment happened was in the 1500s, and the next time is in the 2400s. However, the 2012 fulfillment is more exact. The Jewish calendar originally was a lunar calendar, and it was based on the new moon and or the first crescent of the new moon. What they were supposed to do was they were supposed to watch for the new moon, and then they would count that as the beginning of their month. So for example, today they only do this on the Feast of Trumpets as far as I know. And they will go out and they will watch for the first, nowadays they watch for the first crescent of the new moon. However, there's debate about which is the correct way to do it. Some say that the first day should be the day of the new moon, and others say the first day is the day of the first crescent. In any case, there was a scriptural fulfillment on this day with Daniel 12:12, as I explained in my other video. So if we count this as the first day of the Jewish year, which is The Jewish civil calendar counts this as the first day of their year. It's the Jewish New Year. So if we count this as the first day of the year, the first day of the first month, then this next new moon would be the first day of the second month, and so forth, going by the new moons. So the Jews nowadays do not follow this ancient calendar. They've been manipulating it. So I have their standard calendar in green, but they, like I said, they've been manipulating what the Elohim gave them. So since we saw scriptural fulfillment here, and we see another fulfillment here, then it could mean that these dates are actually accurate, that these are the dates. So this is, if this is the first day of the year, the first day of the first month, this would be the second day. Okay, the reason I need to explain that to you is because I'm about to show you some scriptural alignments that are amazing. So we know that October 29th, Hurricane Sandy hit New York. If we go back to Exodus 16:1, on the 15th day of the second month, Israel reached the wilderness of Sin. So if this is a second month, starts here. On the 15th day of that month, Israel reached the wilderness of Sin. This is the exact day in 2012 that Hurricane Sandy hit New York City. These new moons do not happen on the same Gregorian calendar dates each year. It's always different. So there's no way this is coincidence. It's not coincidence. On the 17th day of the second month, the rain started and lasted 40 days. This is the story of Noah's Ark. Noah was in the ark, and then the rain started, and it rained for 40 days and 40 nights. It started on the 17th day of the second month. In 2012, the 17th day of the second month, if we look at it in the ancient terms, occurs on Halloween, and ends on the first day of Hanukkah. The 40 days of rain started on Halloween and ends on the first day of Hanukkah. The first day of Hanukkah starts in the evening of the 8th and lasts until the evening of the 9th. So this is the first day of Hanukkah right here. Next, we have a fulfillment on Thanksgiving, or what I call a scriptural alignment on Thanksgiving. On the third day of the third month, the Lord descended on the mountain and stayed for 6 days, and on the seventh day Moses ascended up. Here's the scripture right here. Here's the third new moon right here, and as I said, I have not gone out and physically watched for the new moon like we're supposed to do, but this is according to NASA. The new moon was right here, and the first sliver here. Okay, so 3 days. So on the third day of the third month, the Lord descended 6 days and stayed for 6 days, and on the seventh day Moses ascended and stayed for 40 days and 40 nights. This is Thanksgiving. Right here, it lands exactly on Thanksgiving in 2012. And ends exactly on New Year's Day, 2013. There is a story associated with this descension from the 40 days. So when Moses descends from the mountain after 40 days, which aligns right here on January 1st, 2013, this year and only this year. I've never ever seen anything like this in my life, and I don't know anyone who has. This is unheard of. These scriptural alignments is just unheard of. It's not an accident. It's not coincidental. Moses descended from the mountain after 40 days, and he saw that the Israelites were worshiping the golden calf. There is a golden calf on Wall Street. The calf was turned into powder, and the Israelites were forced to drink the powder. They became sick, and 3,000 of them died. And then Moses went back up to the mountain of God for 40 more days. On September 29th, 2008, the Dow dropped 777 points on the Feast of Trumpets. 4 years later, Hurricane Sandy hit New York City. Noah was 600 years old when the flood came. His father, Lamech, lived 595 years after Noah was born. Therefore, he died 4 to 5 years before the flood, after 77 years. He lived for 777 years. The question is whether Noah was at the beginning of his 600th year or the end of it. And nowadays in the United States, we count years at the end. So if you're born, you're at year 0. And when you're 1 year old, you've completed your first year. However, in the ancient times, some cultures would say that you were in your first year when you were a month old or 2 months old. So we don't know whether Noah was at the beginning of the 600th year or the end of it when the flood came. If he was at the beginning of his 600th year, then the flood would have occurred 4 years after Lamech had lived 777 years. If Noah was at the end of his 600th year at the flood, then it would have been 5 years after the 777th year. Now, this is why it's important. Because we need to know, was Hurricane Sandy the fulfillment of this, or is there going to be another fulfillment next year? Hurricane Sandy is 4 years after the 777 point drop. So is there another fulfillment coming? This takes me over to the visions that I've been shown that have been fulfilled. I will give you a link to my playlist right down here, Proof the Visions Come True. You can go watch that. But these fall fulfillments in 2011 were double fulfillments. There was a fulfillment in 2011 and then again a year later on 2012. As you can see, New York and Connecticut are important for some reason. I didn't understand this last year, but it's becoming clear to me now. New York, Connecticut, New York, Connecticut, New York. So something is going on here with this. There are other people that saw this event right here. But these bullets right here, these bullet points show fulfillments of the visions that he has shown me. And these are recent visions. So, I'm sorry to have to be the bearer of bad news, but I do believe that this is a warning from the Elohim that something bad is about to happen. Because remember, Jesus said in Matthew 24 that when you see this abomination of desolation, when you see that, he said there will be great tribulation that has never happened before in human history and will never happen again. It's the worst thing that has ever happened, he said. So I have to tell you, when I see these patterns and these fulfillments, I have to tell you, and I'm sorry, because I don't like being the bearer of bad news, but you need to know.